I talked to this guy for like 6 months, 45 acres in Buellville, North Carolina. We bought it. I don't remember exactly what the price points were, but figured about 170. And I was like, wow, like this is kind of cool.
You're a good example of like figuring things out. And I think so many people have the opposite mindset of where like, I don't have someone walking me through how to do this. So there's no way I can do this. Like you said, there's so many resources out there for how to do anything.
Still like great markets everywhere. The United States is like almost impossible to grasp how large it is, like landmass size. And there's markets where I'll like list a piece of land and I'll like have 20 calls like day one.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm joined today by Kacper Piechek. Kacper, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about your story. I'm excited. I mean, I've heard only good things, so I'm excited to kind of hear your story, how you got into this business, everything like that. But yeah, let's start there, Kacper. I know you've been in the business for a while. How did you first find land investing? What did that look like?
So I'm originally from a engineering background, studied aerospace engineering in college. Thought I was gonna work for SpaceX or NASA. That was kind of my thought when I was 18 years old. Did one internship in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that completely changed my mind. I was like, I do not want to do this by any means. Then started a cleaning company when I was out of college and was, you know, renovating some apartments in Chicago. So had some exposure to real estate and enjoyed that kind of path. So the way I got into land was, I don't know, a few years after college, saw something on Twitter,
Mm,
and then decided to just jump in head first, plunge in, test it out. My first deal was like, I don't know, home run deal, made like 170K off of it. And I
wow.
was like, well, this is pretty nice. So let me jump
Yeah.
head first in. And yeah, that's how it kind of got started. So I think my first deal was around 2.5 years ago, and I went full time into this about 2 years. Will be coming up in like, December.
So when was the college, the cleaning business, everything like that?
So I graduated in 2020, and then I started a cleaning company right when I graduated. Ran that for about a year and a half. I think I had like 30 or 40 cleaners max at my
Hmm.
height. Was working also full time for a San Francisco startup company. They were doing like it's called like House Canary. They were doing forecasting of single family home prices, and we're selling that to investors, hedge funds, institutional capital, etc. And decided to sell that company, that cleaning company, and then left in like December, whatever, 2 years ago, 2023.
Hmm.
And then that kick started, was doing land stuff since then.
Have you been an entrepreneur your whole life? Like do stuff as kids?
I was kind, yeah, like I mean, I would just like when I was young, like I would work construction with my dad a lot,
Yeah.
and we would just, like, go to construction and, like, just hustle these, like, rich moms into, like, selling me, like, their, like well, we would do, like, renovations, and
Hmm.
we'd do, like, new kitchen renos, and I'd be like, "I'll take your old, like, fridge and, like, microwave, and, like, we'll replace it. I'll take it for free. I'll dispose of it for
Yeah.
free," and I would just, like, sell it on Facebook Marketplace. So I don't know, I was just, like, always, like, working as a kid, and, my parents were always, like, very prominent for, like, helping me, like, aspire towards doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say I always had that itch since I was a kid.
So you said think you saw land on like Twitter for the first time. Like, are you one that like you see it that's interesting? I'm gonna take action on this, and like
Yeah.
there's not much time in between you seeing it for the first time and like you starting to
No,
do
I think
something.
when I saw the first tweet, I was, like, interested, like, I spent that evening just, like, researching stuff, and I think I landed on, I'm sure, like, the REI
Yep.
tipster. Yeah, and so I just, like, dug through his blogs, and then just, like, started reading through it, and then, met another guy, Clay Hepler, which
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar with, and then, talked to him a little bit, and then was like, "Screw it," in, like, 2 weeks on my first, like, mail campaign, and then was talking to people. I had no idea what I was talking
Yeah.
about. Like, I remember, like, first mail campaign went out, I got, like, 40 leads. It was, like, Onslow County, North Carolina,
Hmm.
and like, had all these leads, and I was like, "Well, crap, now I don't know, like, what to do." I was like, "That's I did the easy stuff. Now I have to, like, figure out how to talk to these people." I had no idea how to, like, really comp land or, like, what to do. So, I was just blindly talking to them, just trying to get their life story,
Hmm.
figure out what they want. Like, I sent out these blind price points that, I, like, figured out how to do, or how these, like, conventional methods, like,
Hmm.
taught you, right? Um, and since then, like, I don't know, I just talked to these people. A bunch of them were failures, not failures, but like, like they
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
or I
Yeah.
just didn't really know what I was doing. But I mean, they're great learning experiences.
Hmm.
Like, I'm just a big believer in like learning by jumping into the deep end head first, and then like figuring out how to swim. So that's kind of how I got into it. So ended up, talking to this guy. It was like 45 acres in Belleville, North Carolina. I still remember. I talked to this guy for like 6 months.
Wow.
And then we bought it. I don't remember exactly what the price points were, but, cleared about 170, and I was like, "Wow, like, this is kinda cool."
We're
So
back in, like, the 2023 time period,
yeah,
is
yeah.
that correct?
Yeah.
Wow, so you made 170 on your first deal. Was that from one of those first campaigns?
Yeah, it was from, like, literally the first campaign.
And
So it was, like,
you
lucky, like
Yeah. I mean, you talked to him for 6 months, so credit to you for that. A lot of people, like, hear a no the first time they talk to someone or
yeah.
whatever, like, and they give up. What was it about that lead that made you keep talking to him, or is that just your mindset with it? Like, what was he saying that made you, like, keep following up?
It's kinda both, like, I mean, like, I just had good rapport with him, and, like, he's a great guy. It was, like, him and his, like, 4 siblings, they inherited his land, and, like, the parents split the parcels, but it was, like, off an easement, so you couldn't, like, really access all the parcels. There's, like, this, like, weird easement along the front side, and it just wasn't kept up. So all 6 of them were in, like, different locations. I think there was, like, 2 in North Carolina, 1 in Chicago, 1 in Texas. Like, the siblings were all over the place.
Mhm.
So it was more of, like, a corralling everyone and trying to get everything sorted. It was also like, I don't know, the purchase price was about like 300K, and I kept telling this guy I'm gonna buy it for cash, and I didn't have 300K
Yeah.
cash. So it was also kind of a
Yeah.
stalling game and trying to figure out how to fund it and raise money and get everything. So basically scrounged up, got like a hard money loan for half of it, and then I think sold it in like 3, 4 months later. But yeah, I just knew I don't know, I just had a gut feeling that it was gonna
Yeah.
be a good deal, and felt like I should just continue pursuing him and figure where it takes me.
So what'd you sell that for?
So does that turn out to be, like, around 500, I think? I
Okay.
made about 170
Damn.
after everything.
That's awesome, and credit to you for I mean, that's a not a straightforward first deal. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I
4
learned, and it
siblings.
was crazy too, because I had to get, like, a utility easement to even get access to the property, and it was, like, through 2 neighbors that I had to get a utility easement. So I was, like, contacting 2 sets of neighbors
Wow.
and trying to get, like, the local engineer. I remember I sent this man, he was probably so annoyed because I was, like, hammering his phone every day because it was just, like, local engineer that worked for, like, the electrical company,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Yeah, I can, like, serve or write up these utility easements across people's properties." And I was hammering his phone all the time because I was like, "I need to get this easement to be able to close on the properties, otherwise I won't be able to get electric to it."
Mhm.
And there was a point I was just sending this man donuts, like, every week because I was like, "I'm sorry for hammering you, but, like, I need this easement.
Yeah.
Can you help me out?" So yeah, I remember having to get this like utility easement. Then like one of the neighbors was upset because like I kept telling her that like, I'm gonna come in and buy. She's like, "Well, what are you gonna do with it? I don't like what you're gonna do with it." The one neighbor was like a big hunter, had access rights, I mean hunting rights to the property. He was not happy that I was coming in and buying it because I was like, "I'm gonna terminate your lease when I buy the property." He wasn't happy, and it was like in the middle of like, and, like, I don't know, I'm from Chicago originally. I never really hunted.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't realize hunting season prime is, like, middle of November,
Yeah.
and I'm coming in here telling him, like, "Yeah, sorry, you can't hunt." And he's just, like, older dude. He's like, "Screw you, like,
Yeah.
don't mess with me." So, I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs, but it was, like, very like, a ton of learning points throughout that deal. So, absolutely not a simple, easy flip,
You
but
learned a lot of different skills though during that, like, just I mean, but a lot of it seems like natural to you in terms of the donuts thing and all these different things. Like, was that just like an instinctual thing? Like, I just need to get this deal closed. What is someone? How am I going to get a hold of this guy?
yeah, I don't know. My mindset's just like, I'm gonna get this done, and like, how do I figure this out?
Yeah,
Like, my mindset's always been like, oh, like, okay, I'm gonna like promise this, or I'm gonna like promise myself that I'll achieve this, and it's like, okay, how do I get there? And like, doesn't matter if it's like a
donuts.
straight line, zigzag line, yeah, donut screw it. I was about to take a flight there and just literally like
Yeah,
hound this man like in his office every day.
and this is a point when they agreed to the utility easement, or did?
Yeah, so the neighbor agreed to it, except the neighbor was like, old man, like landline. I could get him on the phone maybe like once a week.
Mm,
So I was like, if I get him on the phone, then he gives me like 2 dates that he's available for like the guy from the like electrical company to come by and like have them sign the easement. So it's just like this matching game of like, when can I get this like engineer on the phone, and when can I get the neighbor on the phone and marry them up
hmm.
in terms of timeline and scheduling so that they could actually, meet together and sign this damn easement.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a wild first deal. I've heard a lot of wild ones, but that's a pretty wild one.
Yeah.
Um, Over this like 6 month period when this is your first deal, like, were you still doing marketing and stuff? What did your other parts of your
Um,
business look like?
well, so that was just like very initially. That's like when I first started. I was still working my previous job, so haven't had like, I was still like making money, and I think maybe still had the cleaning company. I think I sold it actually kind of like on the term. But, so I was still making some money, but I was like, "Let me just first, like, see how this, like, first batch
Mhm.
goes," and I think I sent out, like, a second batch when I got, like, finally under contract, and I finally got that, like, electrical easement and stuff, so I saw the potential, and I saw, like, probability. I mean, kinda skewed my mindset because I was like, "Oh, damn, like, each deal is gonna be
Every
6
deals.
figures, like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
absolutely not, but, I sent, like, next batches to, like, all around the Onslow area and, like, southern of, like, the coastal parts of, North Carolina.
Mhm.
Started getting some, like, more deals and then started kind of growing towards, like, 1 cold caller, 2 cold callers, and so started kinda growing from there, but, yeah, once I finally kinda cashed in that first deal, it allowed me to really invest into my team, marketing, etcetera.
So is that when did you switch over to cold calling? You mentioned mail at first. Were you still doing mail at this point after this first deal, or were you doing switching
Yeah,
to
so
cold
I
call?
was still doing mail. So I was doing mail for like the first 6 months. I really didn't do too much, like maybe like 20,000 mailers total
Mhm,
over 6 months. And just had my first couple deals, but like, the first one was like 170, and the next one was like 30, and then I hit like another 20. So like started adding up to the point where I was like, okay, I can start like consistently marketing a little bit more. And then started cold calling, had brought on like one cold caller probably about 6 months after my first mail piece.
mhm. So what did those next what did 2024 look like for you? So we're kinda towards the end of 2023 with where we are. What did 2024 look like you and your bit for you and your business?
Yeah, so it was just a lot of like, the way I view, like, 2024 was, like, taking it from, like, 0 to 1, like, in terms of, like, okay, like, I had this concept that, like, I wanted to test out, like, does this land thing work for me, right? And, like, first few deals, like, kind of validated that concept, and it was like, "Yeah, it works for me," right? So it was now it's like, "Okay, like, now we've validated concept, let's bring it towards, like, something that I could build continuously upon." So it was, like, bringing on team members, so I brought in, like, a few admin people. I maintained a few admin people for my cleaning company that I thought were good and just brought them over with me to this land stuff, so they're helping me with, like, mailers, pricing, different things, like, just pulling
Mhm,
data, scrubbing things, like, doing all the things I didn't really want to
mhm.
do. And then I brought on a acquisition manager. She's definitely could not afford her back then for what she was. She's, like, fantastic, and she's still with me today, but, so I overpaid with giving her some, more equity on the spreads of deals, but she helped elevate my business because now I didn't have to just call all the leads myself, brought on more cold callers, so it kinda became more of like "Okay, now I have a team, now I have,
Mhm.
like, more predictable volume, I have more predictable, leads, and I can kinda start, growing and building more consistently after that."
So 2024 is when you, really started taking the business seriously in terms of, this is my thing, right? This is my
Yeah,
thing.
I think I went, like, literally full time into, like, end of 20 like, December 2023, I went fully into
You made
this.
170 grand on a deal, had some other deals in the pipeline, and
Yeah, and then
"Yeah,
I
we
was
gotta
like
scale this thing up."
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What did, 2024 look like in terms of your numbers?
I think, like, gross did about 800,
Okay.
800K, um, and yeah, so I think that's what it was. So, I mean, started off a little slow, then there was a point with, like, the election that things slowed
Yep.
down a little bit, but, like, the summer was good. We're, like, hitting some, like, bigger deals and having a lot of, like, ups and downs and a lot of things that you find, that are issues and, things that falter, but otherwise, things were good. Started doing, like, more, like, double closes as well on certain transactions, which allowed me to, like, up my volume in terms of how many deals I can close. So, yeah, it just kind of started growing from there a little bit.
Any big lessons that came out of 2024 that, once you start ta let's just go, once you start taking this business seriously,
Yeah.
through 2024, any big lessons to, looking back at last November, last December, "I gotta do this better in 2025." Obviously, we're almost done with
Yeah, yeah,
2025
yeah.
now, but what, pivots were you making at the end of your first full year?
Yeah, I'd say, like, the biggest things that, like, bit me in the ass were, like, I was so focused on just, like, revenue and, like, it being, like, the North Star for me, right? Like, we just gotta bring cash in the door and, like,
Mhm,
have more deals. I didn't really do a great job of, like, keeping track of, like, metrics, like, how many leads we get, how many we convert, how many offers we make, like, talk time, like, I
mhm,
was doing a terrible job at that.
yeah,
Like, I was just kind of winging it, and, like, it was working, and, like,
mhm,
mentally, I kind of knew if we were, like, positive or negative or, like, rough ballparks, but I did not have those metrics down. And then also I did not really have, like, super clean books, like, I just did not like, I had HUDs and everything, and then I was like, "Well, crap, now, like, tax season's coming around, like, early 2025," and I'm like, "I kinda know how much I made, kinda not, and, like, where these deals are, where these HUDs at, like,
Mhm,
I need to, like, track everything down." So, I'd say the 2 biggest things was, like, I wish I kept better track of, like, accounts in
mhm.
terms of, like, here's how much is coming in, here's how much is going out, here's how much we're like, you know, acquiring every month. I mean, I had those figures, but it was more so like what to expect on my tax bill. And then also, I wish I had the metrics down to
Yeah,
have like, see really where, because then it really kind of turns into a business, right?
yeah,
Less from like hustling and trying to get like a few deals under your belt and just trying to like make some cash to like, okay, now we have some deals. Now we have things like moving. Let's, move forward and let's, make things let's make decisions based off predictable data that we were able to, look at within our
mhm.
business.
Did you make those KPI switches in 2025?
Yeah, and we're doing a lot more comprehensive ones now, and so, our team grew. So I think by the end of 2024, I had about like 7 people
Mhm.
total. Now we have about 18.
Wow.
So, the KPIs are a lot more in depth now and a little bit more stringent. And I think it's a big thing I'm learning from then when it was like, okay, learning how to like manage the metrics of a business to now I think like the biggest thing I'm learning now is like how to best manage people,
Yeah.
and like how to put them in the best place to succeed and how to manage their
Mhm.
outputs and, a little bit structured differently. So,
Tell me about, what that breakdown of, like, your staff is currently.
yeah, so I mean, right now I have so it's myself at the top. I kind of oversee a lot of things and still very much day to day in the
Mhm.
business. I have one acquisition manager still. She's great, so she's able to take on a ton of volume. So she makes about like 20, 25 offers a day. She's a killer on the phone, so I'm very lucky to have her. And then I have a cold calling team of 7. They're all from South Africa.
Nice.
And I think I have 1 cold calling manager, so that's 8 total. I have a disposition admin, helps makes like keeps track of all of our brokers, helps like talk to sellers, buyers, and kind of build relationships and like buyer lists. I have a general like VA helps me with like pricing, just kind of like Swiss Army stuff.
Mhm.
I have a personal assistant. She helps me with like, EA stuff and like keeping my calendar clean and like keeping track of KPIs, stuff like that. What does that put me at? What else do I have? I have a lead manager. He's great. He helps me out with a lot of the incoming leads, qualifying,
Mhm.
disqualifying, seeing you know, who's qualified to move through, who's not, who to follow up with. I have a transaction coordinator, helps everything that we get under contract, all the flips, all the, development deals, everything that we have in play. So she kind of keeps control of buyers, sellers, just make sure people are happy and things are moving on track. I have two due diligence people and they help me, underwrite properties
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that maybe adds up to
Yeah.
18. I'm not
It's a
counting,
lot,
but
it's a lot.
whatever that adds up to, if I'm missing anyone, I apologize. But
No, no, you're good. Real quick, guys, before we get back to the episode, if you're looking to get into land flipping, get your first land deal. We have helped so many people with our one-on-one coaching. If you guys want to schedule a call, learn more, hit the link below, landinvestingonline.com/consultations, schedule a call, and we'll help you out. Yeah, I mean, you went from having a cleaning company with 20, 30 employees to this. Has that always been your mindset, like grow your companies with people? Because some people come into this business like, I want to be as lean as I hear it all the time, and I'm fine with it. And it's teach his own as far as like you want to be lean or you want to people is a way to grow a business for
yeah.
sure. But has that always been kind of your mindset? Like I'm going to grow these businesses with people.
Yeah, I mean, look, like it's definitely one of the ways you grow, right? It's like capital, tech, or people,
Hmm.
right? Are the 3 kind of accelerators of growth or how you can scale. And so I think, if you have this like bucket and you're like, look, this bucket's producing X amount of revenue and X amount of profit, you can just replicate that bucket with another set of people. But then it's like, who manages them? What's the next step? So I'm thinking of bringing on like a COO to help kind
Yeah.
of manage that and try to replicate that bucket and replicate, that entire process. So I could focus my time more on like these larger entitlement development deals. But I think yeah, I think, like, if I'm starting and a lot of it's, like, global talent, so it's a little bit cheaper than the
Hmm.
US, so it's a more, you know, I guess, affordable way to
Yeah.
scale off the get-go, especially if you hire good people and, train them and put them in good positions. I think, yeah, it's a great way to scale, and I think for me, definitely it's one I'm taking right now, but also introducing a lot of tech and automation to, like, make a lot of processes run smoother and allow for that scale.
And 7 of your people are cold caller, 8, with the
Yeah,
manager
so
too. So, like, it's a lot of people are outsourcing that to agencies and, like, that is an 8 person, but you're just other people decide to outsource it.
yeah.
Um, have you tried to outsource or was it like I love the in-house cold calling if you're able to manage it and keep the KPIs and everything like that, because I think you're gonna get better results if you're in charge of it. What was your thought process? Was that always kinda like, "I'm gonna bring this in-house"? Did you do cold calling for your cleaning business as well?
I did some cold calling for my cleaning business. I think my cold calling thoughts were I want to have it in house, and I want to have it in house because I don't, I want the control of it.
Mhm,
Like if I outsource, I saw people outsourcing, and they're like $2,000 per cold call. We'll give you like two leads, but then it's like you can control the script, but you can't quality control. Like you can maybe see who's calling. You don't decide who calls what. Like
mhm,
maybe you have team of 5 cold callers and you have a stud cold caller and you have a list that you really care about, like, maybe just high-end deals in, like, Tennessee or, like, really expensive median home price areas, right? Like, higher end values and people are more stringent on the phone or they're more like, "Who the hell's calling me and why?" Like, I want my top cold caller on those lists, right? Like, so it's like a lot of the variables that you can't control that I like to have control over just weren't
yeah,
possible with outsourcing, and so that's why I was like, "I wanna just bring it in-house."
yep. Then you get real strict to KPIs, you understand like, it's easier to make changes too. When
Yeah.
you control it, like, you can, like call your people for a meeting, like, "We're changing the script right now. This isn't working," versus, like, with agencies, a lot of times there's more back and forth or there's a bigger strain on changing what's going on with your business.
Yeah.
Um, so you talked about bigger deals, like, what does 2025 look like in terms of are you tackling bigger deals? You said some entitlements, development stuff. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we have about like we're doing like a few large like subdivides. That'll be pretty
Mhm,
solid. Also looking at a few entitlement deals. So, working through the preliminary, construction drawing, final plat approval process through these large deals. So I have a few ones, one actually in Atlanta and like Swanee, Georgia. So
nice.
taking a look at taking like 11 and a half acres. Median home sales price there is in that area is around like 1.5, 2.5 million,
Mhm,
just like in that range. It varies, right? But it's so, we're creating about like 11 lots there. Have one in Cranberry Township outside of like Pittsburgh. It's about like 11 or so acres. We're gonna create like 22 home sites in there, and same thing. So I'll just basically like, lock them up, give them due diligence and kind of milestone, processes and, like, pay them to lock up their land, and then I just hold it over until, either partner with a developer and profit share with them, or they'll just buy me out upon the approval process. So, taking a look at those kind of, so I want, like, the, general buy and sell and, some of the, like, minor splits and administrative splits to, like, just be a cash arm
yeah,
for these larger development entitlement deals.
because the timeline with these ones take a lot longer, I guess.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
timeline's a lot longer, but I mean, the
yeah.
spreads are also much
For
longer.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they are a lot bigger for sure, and, yeah, talking today with having people on the podcast, like, those entitlement deals are insane in terms of seven-figure payouts, everything like that. It's very,
yeah.
very realistic. Um,
No, 100%.
have you what was kinda your education process in terms of, like, the entitlement stuff with the details? Or, like, are you partnering with people or just kinda, learning by doing, kinda like it seems like a lot of the stuff you do?
I think, like, again, I just kinda was just like, "Damn, there's a lot of money to be made in
Yeah,
entitlement deals, so let me
we'll
just
figure it out.
jump in head
Yeah.
first." Yeah, so it was like, picked up a lot. I think, like, my first one was in, like, Charlotte, and did one, where it was, like, well, probably closing on it in, like, March of next
Mhm,
year. It was, like, 15 acres or so, very stringent on, like, the open space requirement. I think we were only able to put in, like, 15 lots, but it was just, like, very nice, beautiful homes. So
mm,
it's, like, bought it for around, like, or we'll buy it for around, like, 2.1, we'll sell for around, like, 2.9, and then, like, I'll just collect that spread
yeah,
from the developer. So, um yeah, I don't know, it's just like I got in and then it was like, "Okay, well, how do I figure this out?" Lots of YouTube videos. I mean,
mhm,
it's crazy. I mean, like, you're like, "How do I learn stuff?" I mean,
yeah,
there's so much content and
100%.
resources online. Like, I guarantee if you look up and you're like, "How does an entitlement deal work?" You'll find YouTube videos that will explain it.
You
Um, yeah.
you're a good example of, like, just, like, figuring things out, and I think so many people have the opposite mindset of where, like, "I don't have someone walking me through how to do this, so there's no way I can do this." There's like you said, there's so many resources out there for how to do anything,
Yeah.
how to knit, how to do whatever. It doesn't have to be in land. Whatever you wanna do, like, it's probably there's probably a how to that on YouTube for sure. And like there's so many entitling is a very, very complex thing. And
Yeah.
to be able to learn that just based on watching videos and stuff is really impressive. Are you I feel like you have a lot of conversations with people, whether it's people at the county and like
Yeah,
you
that's the
just
thing
take
too, is
tidbits like
that's the thing too, is,
yeah.
like, you'll learn, but, like, when you get into the action of doing, like, you will learn and meet so many people who will guide you, like, the amount of developers I've, like, just cold call and been like, "Hey, I have this piece of land," and then, like, the questions they'll ask me, like, will prepare me for the next call with the
Mhm.
developer, and then I'll research, like, well, how much does it cost to,
Yeah.
like, grade this site? Like, and then it's like, well, let me figure that out. Or like, well, like the county's telling me like I'm gonna need to, extend the sewer line by 1,000 feet. Well, how much is that gonna run me,
Mhm.
right? And then like the more conversations you have, then you talk with your engineers and you're like, all right, well, how much is this preliminary like engineering site gonna cost me? And then like they'll like walk you through, well, stormwater is gonna be a huge issue for you. And then
Yep.
it's like, well, how do I solve that? Like it's just, like, the more you, like, get into it, like, you'll meet so many people who will, like, help you. Like, the amount of developers I had, like, walk me through or just, like I had this project in Atlanta, I had this, one of the developers I reached out to, he has this, like, broker who, like, does all his transactions for him, and he, like, calls me up, and he just had, like, a 2-hour conversation with me about, like, all the deals that he's doing, what I'm seeing, like, et cetera. Like, you'll meet so many people, and then, like, the biggest thing too is, like, if you're supplying these, like, ready lots or these paper lots or these, ready lots to developers, I mean, that's supply for them. That's how they'll
Mhm.
make their money. They, like, they almost have, like, a not like an invested interest in you, but, like, if you bring them a good deal, they'll take it. So
Yep.
they for them to spend 30 minutes answering some of your questions or, like, giving you feedback on the lot
Mhm.
is, futile compared to what they can make if you actually produce them a,
Yeah.
shovel-ready lot, so
Think going in those conversations and a lot of people I talk to a lot of people who like shield themselves from feeling stupid or whatever it is, and like you got
yeah.
to be okay not knowing shit. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, 100%.
I at your age, I probably wasn't as good as I am today. But like someone says something to me, I don't care what it is, how simple it sounds, and I don't know what it means. Like I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like being inquisitive, asking questions of people that have specialties that you don't have yet, or it's just so valuable. Conversations you pull so much from every single conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, these and, like, the idea of feeling stupid, I mean, hell yeah, it is kinda scary, right? Like, you're talking to someone and you're talking from, like, a developer from Lennar Homes, like, the acquisition guy, like, they sell billions of dollars worth of
Yeah,
homes every year, I'm just this, like, 27-year-old kid calling up like, "Hey, like, you wanna buy this piece of land?"
yeah,
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of times where, like, someone will ask me something, I'll be like, "Fuck, I have 0 clue what,
yeah,
like, what they said or, like, what they mean." So, I'll be like, "Yeah, there's plenty of times where you feel stupid," but, like, you have that moment once, and now like, "Hey, this was, like, a question they asked me, like, let me figure out what this is." And now this is, like, a point that you're never gonna repeat again,
mhm,
right? So, it's just about, like, almost, like, speed running through all those, like, moments where you feel dumb so that you don't feel dumb for the next conversation.
100%. It's a good life lesson for anybody. It accelerates learning. It accelerates your skills being built instead of like just going in those because what happens is when you start feeling stupid in conversations or whatever, and you're not willing to like ask what the heck are you talking about, the
Mhm.
conversations end there. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah,
going to have a 2 hour
100%.
conversation if you get confused in minute five,
Yeah.
and you don't ask what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's how the conversations go on, and you continue to learn. Um, Transition a little bit, like, what are you seeing right now in the land investing space? I don't know how connected are you connected with communities and stuff like that? But what are you seeing right now in the land investing space just overall?
I think, like I feel like some markets are like, heating up. Like, I think there's like a little bit of stall
Mhm,
in the market, like in the middle of the summer. Obviously, there's a lot of like macro-wise in the United States, and there's a lot of like single family residences that are like sitting, and especially like these markets that surged during COVID, like Florida, Texas, like seeing a lot of like single family sitting out there, and
mhm,
there's just so much supply. But the rates are still reasonably high for
yeah,
most people, and so there's not a lot of movement. So it's just kind of things are just kind of tepid right now. But in land, I feel like in general, like there's still like great markets
yeah,
everywhere. It's like, like the United States is like it's almost impossible to grasp how like large it is, like landmass size. And so like there's all these pockets that like are still booming. And there's markets where I'll like, list a piece of land now, like have like 20 calls like day one. And then there's markets where like things just sit. So I think like overall things are still moving. I feel like in general, just about like, if you buy it right and you're convinced in your underwriting and like things will go, it's like if you really wanna push it, you can just bring your price down, make sure you
Mhm.
underwrite everything correctly, and you can still move things. But, yeah, I think, like, overall, some pockets are still hot, but I feel like, maybe things are a little bit slow as maybe as they were compared, like, maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, definitely when you first were selling that first piece of land, it was definitely a hotter market for sure.
Much, yeah,
And then the
definitely.
last like 12, 18 months have been, I feel like, kind of consistent. It's had some, and every market's different. And like you said, like how big this country is, like how you can figure out how much land there is, go on an airplane and fly anywhere.
No,
And like
it's
you'll see a
not
city and then you'll see land
nothing.
everywhere
Yeah.
else. So yeah, there's plenty of land out there. What are your thoughts in terms of the land flipping industry or people looking to get into it right now?
I mean, I think like with any industry, right? Like, I mean, it's if you want to test it out and you want to take a look, I mean, like you mentioned, there's so much land, like someone can get in and figure out if it's for you or not, right? So I don't think like I've never been a believer of like, oh, like, this industry is like slowing down or this is like growing, like, or just like jumping from things to things. I think you really like put your mindset to it. And like as with anything with success, so you just gotta be committed to like spending a lot of time. Like, that first deal took me 6 months. If I would have
Hmm.
quit 'cause I didn't get any money in like 2 weeks, I wouldn't be here, right? So
Yep.
it's like, just go head down and run your way through first couple years, 5 years, and then I'm sure obviously, it's not a dying industry. It's not like one of these industries that's gonna be, like, overtaken by AI, and I think,
Hmm.
like, people want land all the
Yeah.
time. I'm surprised with how much people want land. Like, I grew up in, like, a big city, so it's like, our parcels were, like I think the home I grew up on, the parcel was, like, 25 feet by 125 feet. Like, it's, like, point zero one
Yeah.
acres, like, and, like, some people are just buying, like, tens, hundreds of acres for themselves. So, I think if people wanna get into it, jump in, take a look, and I think there's still plenty of opportunity. Obviously, I think it's becoming more popular,
Yeah.
and I think in general, people are recognizing land as, more valuable and tradable asset than it
Yeah.
was, like, probably, a few years ago. But I don't think that should stop anyone, and I don't think I think, what's that saying? Like, rise, like, brings
Yeah,
up all
yeah, yeah,
oceans or
yeah,
whatever the hell
yeah,
that is, yeah. So I think, if the fact that there's more people just means it's a, semi-validated industry.
yeah. What about your, company goals, your personal goals going into 2026?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I want to nail down some of these larger deals. I want to have like about like 5 or 6 that I have under contract that I'm currently working on, and each of them being minimum like 600K or something in terms of spread, and have a few on my plate that I'm looking at that are very solid, like multi 7 figures. They just take a lot of time, right? 12 to 14 to 16 months. There's always delays. And then I think I just want better structure and better metrics and better awareness. I think like I want to start treating things more as like outputs and how things look like, just metrics wise, rather than I have all these people in place that are just kind of a collective. So want to run more of like a machine in terms of like what I have going on and allow myself to have more time to conquer these larger, development deals. So
At this point, are you more hands-on with, like, all different departments and don't feel like it needs cat it you feel like it needs, like, Casper to run the business though?
Semi. I mean, obviously I don't not necessarily full time, but I still
Mhm.
think I'm very entrenched in like a lot of the day-to-day
Yeah.
activities, which I want to be,
Yeah.
right? And I've always been a big believer of just like, I don't know, test out every part. I think some people would be like, I want to get in this and then, delegate everything. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, well, I don't know how to delegate something if I don't know what it looks like
Yeah.
being done correctly, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
it's like I want to kind of make sure everything looks right in my opinion, and like what do I consider success looking like in this like position, whether it be like cold calling or being a transaction coordinator or, doing dispositions, and then okay, now I can delegate and get people in place. So like just I'm on like the current corner to turn that to the point where I could fully take myself out. But as of today, like I'd say I'm still pretty much entrenched.
Yeah, some people try to delegate really, really early, and it kills businesses, in my opinion. Just like you can't delegate something that you don't know how to do
Yeah.
yourself.
No,
And
100%.
like you can't just like tell someone to come in and do something. And like you, as the business owner, need to be really good at all aspects of the business. There are going to be people who come in with better skills. Like if you hired an engineer to like take someone I had on earlier, he has engineers on his team for like entitlement stuff like that. Like, yeah, they're
Mhm.
gonna have skill sets, but you need to be able to put them in the right positions.
Yeah.
So understanding that's really important. Anything differently you plan on doing, like marketing wise, to get deals in 2026?
Um, yeah, I think like I don't know, like I've been doing texting, cold calling, and direct mail. I do want to increase my direct mail a little
Mhm.
bit. I think it's been lagging a little bit behind, compared to texting and cold calling for me. But no, I think like all three of them hit like different demographics
Mhm.
of people. So, some people on the older side, like I've had so many people on the phone tell me, like, "I don't believe in email." So it's like, I mean, like, mail is great for them, right? Like, I mean, some people love check the mail and they don't believe in anything unless they get a piece in the mail. And then some people are like on the younger side, be like, "Don't call me, don't mail me, just like send me a text." So it's like, I think, like cold calling, texting, and mail hit. I mean, they hit kind of almost every demographic in the United States, in terms of people who like prefer which like method of communication. So I don't think I'm changing anything. I think they all work. It's just all about consistency and then
Yep.
tweaking how you reach out, how you text, how you call, how you mail. So I think it'd be more so I'm gonna run a lot more like tests on what works on mailing campaigns or postcards versus letters, blind offers, ranges or content. So I think I'll just be doing a lot more tweaking and, like, seeing what tests run rather than actually changing or putting more emphasis on one, method versus the
That
other.
makes sense. I'm excited to see your success in 2026. Anything else for viewers? A lot of people watching, I mean, probably about 40-50% of the people watching are brand new to land or brand new here.
Yeah.
Any advice or anything like that for someone looking to get into this?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was, like, telling myself, like, from the beginning, I'd be like, "Just jump into it." Like, if
Yeah.
you're interested or, like, you've been watching and I remember when I was, like, watching a few videos and then, there's a certain point where you just gotta, like, be like, "You know what? Screw it, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
jump in." Like, commit a few $1,000s and, like, jump in and see if it's for you or not. Obviously, there's so many industries out there, and you gotta see if you like it or not. And
Hmm.
it's not easy. It's simple, I guess, in theory, right? Like, I mean, like any business, you market, you do sales, and then
Yep.
you sell. But I'd say, if you're looking and you're hoping to get into it, just take that first step,
Hmm.
take that action step, and then take it from there. See if you like it or not, if it works for you, if it suits your skill sets. But I think like the greatest thing you can do for yourself is just take an action step,
For sure.
instead of just you're gonna watch 100 more videos and you can get, a ton more content,
Hmm.
but you're not gonna really learn that much more.
I 100% agree. Some people are so like always in the learning phase and like they're just serial learners and they never take action.
Yeah.
Um, Really cool hearing your story though today, Casper. Is there anywhere people listening can find you?
I am on Twitter. I don't use it as much, but I do plan on being a little bit more active. It's just, Casper and then underscore PCH.
We'll link that in the
Yeah,
description
we
below.
can
We'll
it's
link it.
I have a complicated name, so
Yeah, all good, all good. Well, I
so
appreciate you
I'll
coming
link it,
on.
yeah.
If you guys are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button below. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, share with a friend, tag us. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.